that says, "I heart Ron Perlman"?
Everybody keeps asking me if I got it. I have a comment and a question. One is, you say you're getting older, but you are more breathtaking every single year. Okay, and the question is, I don't know if you've gotten the script for Sons of Anarchy yet, but if you haven't, do you have any idea how Clay is going to maneuver himself out of this situation? Or any theories?
No. No. No to the script question. I guess we're going to get them this week because we start shooting in about a week and a half. I think they have close to 2 or 3 finished. They usually wait till they have the first 3 before they start sending out one to the cast. The truth be told, I've had a conversation with Kurt Sutter, and he said to me, "What do you think happens here?" And I said, "I've never been able to do Clay's thinking for him. You've always been much better at that than I am. But I know that the potential, there's no shortage of paths you could take. I mean, there he is in prison. He's got a $5 million price on his head. He's been betrayed by everything and everyone that he built his empire for and with. And there's a million ways he could either extricate himself from that situation or not extricate himself from that situation. Does he go inward? Does he go outward? Does he become more manipulative than ever? Does he become more dangerous than ever because he's a cornered big cat? And I don't know the answer. I mean, I do, but I'm not telling you.
The honest answer.
Hey Ron, I really liked you as the Lich in Adventure Time. What was it like working with Pendleton and those guys?
With who?
Pendleton Ward.
Those are really smart people. I basically, they booked me for that job. There's another, little Hollywood tidbit that, I'll tell you people, but I don't want this going outside this room. My people know that I love to work, and I pretty much will say yes to anything that they think is not completely, bargain basement. So I get a call, and you're booked at 3:45 to show up at the Cartoon Network to do this thing. Here's your parking pass and everything, and no material, no nothing. I usually show up, and I also like to work cold. I like to, have the script in front of me and go and make split-second decisions without having read it or prepared it. And so that was the case with this guy. And I walk in the room, and I immediately realize I'm in the room with very smart people. I start looking at what I'm given to say in the scenes that I'm interacting in and the other characters that I'm interacting with, and I say, this is really, really pretty good stuff. I mean, this could have been, wouldn't have mattered, but so I was pleasantly surprised with how much fun I had on that show, playing that guy. And there was a huge amount of enthusiasm in the room for the making of that show, which is always helpful. When people love what they do and respect what they do, it just turns out better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First off, Chris, love IGN, faithful user for that. Ron, you are amazing. I think we can all agree because we're all here. I would hope to see how amazing he is. My question to you is, if, let's just say, parallel universe, that there was an episode of Justice League where they had a 3-way battle between Slade, Clayface, and Orion, all voiced by you, and the director said, Ron, I will let you pick the winner. Who would you pick? Would you pick Slade because, like you, he's BA? Would you pick Clayface because he's got powers, or Orion because he's the new guy with the futuristic moped?
I have no idea what he's talking about. Those were all, those jobs I went to, just was more concerned with where am I parking. No, I'm sorry. Listen, I can't answer that question because truly I love all my children equally. And I, not to be a smartass, but I've been asked a million times, who would win in a fight? Would it be Hellboy or Clay or Hellboy or whatever else I played? And I mean, the fun of it is not knowing and not, they all think they're going to win.
Oh, yeah.
That's the fun of it, and so that's as far as I can go.
Thank you.
Ready?
What exactly drew you to the role of playing Hellboy?
That they asked. Guillermo mounted a campaign which turned into a battle, which turned into a war that lasted for 7 years, trying to get the people who had the kind of wherewithal to write a check of a movie that size to agree that it could be me playing it. And for 5 years, he tried to get Universal to own the rights to the picture. And they kept throwing movie star names at him, and at the end of 5 years, they realized, this is kind of pointless, so they gave him back the movie and said, good luck to you. And then for 2 years, he went around to other places and mentioned my name, and you could hear snoring and crickets. And, people, it wasn't malicious. People said, look, Ron Perlman on the surface is not the problem. It's the fact that he's just not a bankable movie star. If you're going to spend that kind of money on a movie, you really have to go to the bank with some sort of leverage, with some sort of collateral. That's like when you try to buy a house. If you don't have any credit rating, you don't have any savings, you don't have anything, you're not going to get a loan. Well, that's kind of the way it works with movies as well. And then he made Blade 2. And the movie opened at like $40 million on the opening weekend. And Guillermo had this kind of light bulb go off in his head. And he said, if I don't get Hellboy made this week with Ron Perlman, I'm never going to get it made. And sure enough, everybody in town invited him to meet with them and say, what do you want to do next? And the first meeting he went to, he said, oh, I want to do Hellboy, but there's a caveat. And they said, what's the caveat? He said, the rest is history. I personally never thought he would get it done. Trust me, I don't know anyone on the planet who would say no to a greenlit movie for 7 years just on principle. I'll never to this day be able to even articulate what it was that drove him to be that loyal, not just to me, but to the idea. And know that he could have made the movie 15 times over if he had just done it the easy way. And he didn't, so.
Alright, hey Ron, first off, I want to say the first time I saw your badass persona was in Alien Resurrection. That was awesome.
You obviously didn't grow up in my neighborhood.
But I wanted to ask you, how was your overall experience doing the voice of Justice in Afro Samurai? And how was it working with Samuel L. Jackson and the rest of the group?
I love doing Afro Samurai. Once again, a really, really cool production team. Great material. Very, very well executed. Lots of resources, lots of love, lots of care. The RZA did the music for that. I mean, I made a lot of new friends on that project. I never actually was in the room with Sam because the way it works in animation, very often they record people separately, and so that was the case in this. So I basically did my role in a booth by myself with guide tracks from other actors' performances. Not that I don't know Sam. I know Sam. We go back a few years, but we didn't actually work together on the thing. And it wasn't until I saw it all cut together that I realized, this is a cool one. I'm glad I I got the tap on the shoulder for this. And that was, by the way, I wanted to, you didn't ask this question, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I wanted to, since the hero of the movie was Sam, and he was black, and since his nemesis was this guy that was trying to completely engulf him and humble him, and so I wanted to play a white guy that thought he was black or that acted black. So I went down, I said, who's my #1 hero that I could actually do and turn into a character here that was that badass? And it was Miles Davis.
I'll give her Miles Davis a talk. Miles Davis, give her an interview, and it's kind of laying down here like that, man.
Mr. Perlman, I gotta ask, my favorite role you've ever done other than Hellboy is Sinestro. And was there ever any talks of you coming back and doing that before DC pulled the plug on Green Lantern, or?
I don't remember. Sorry.
Okay.
Didn't I play Sinestro recently?
Yes. Yikes.
It's really hard. No disrespect, but it's really hard for me to keep it all straight. Like I said, I just pounded at it.
It's okay, I have a backup question.
Thank God. I don't want to see you go away completely, with blue balls or anything.
No, it's okay. I'll be thinking about you tonight, Mr. Perlman.
It's buzz for you.
What's the main difference between acting and voice acting? What would you prefer over the other?
Well, I'm a rather impatient actor. I'm usually, think that I'm ready to print in either the first or second take. Myself personally, so it has to go to 3, 4, 5 takes, and then when you have to do all this other stuff, other people's coverage and everything like that, I'm like, I did my thing, man. Why am I still here? Whereas with voiceover acting, the minute you get it right, man, you're in your car, you're out. It's completely result oriented. It's just like here's your script, and you read it, and they go, that was good. Let's move on. And eventually you moved out the door, and it's like, so I'm a guy who really likes to go straight for the performance rather than dick around with all that touchy-feely shit, And you really get a chance to do that in spades in voice acting. It's very instinctive, it's very primal, it's very uncerebral. I dig it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay.
I heart you.
Hi, I just wanted to say you were my first childhood crush, and I love you to this day. And my question is there any roles, whether live action or voice acting, that you just kill to do?
Yes. And you're not going to believe this, but what I really wanted, the only role that I really, really, really want to play that I haven't played is Tevye in Fiddler on the Roof. And it broke my heart when Alfred Molina did a production of it a few years back on Broadway, and his contract was coming to a close and they were looking to replace him. And I sent word to the producers that I was interested, and all we got back was laughter. Crazy. And then they went with Harvey Firestein. A fiddler on the roof. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? What is he doing up there? So if if you ever get a mountain production and fit on the road, give me a call.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My best friend and I saw you at lunch yesterday, but we didn't get to say hi, so this is our official hi, and we love you. And being a hero or a villain, which one's your favorite one to play?
It's all about, really, I don't have any preferences in terms of the kind of character I play. I just like him to be smart, and somebody whose wiring I find attractive, and I have a respect for, even if it's a villain, because people who spend their lives turning their talents to the dark side can also be quite brilliant. And as long as I have respect for what it is that makes them do what they do, then I know I can be very, very satiated, solving the riddle of finding the behavior and playing the guy, whether he's very, very good or very, very bad, or anything in between.
Love you on 1,000 Ways to Die. Just had to throw that out there.
Huh?
You make 1,000 Ways to Die much more worth watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Two things. First, you said, like in the commentary for the first Hellboy movie, that at the time you had recently gotten a puppy. Do you still have that dog?
What?
Like you said in the commentary for the first Hellboy movie that at the time you had recently gotten a new puppy. So do you still have that dog?
Yeah. He'd be with me right now, except he just decided to stay in New York with Mom.
Okay, so
He goes with me everywhere. He's my best pal. His name is Nigel, and he's a Jack Russell Terrier.
And the second one is I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but in the comics, Slade has he has children, and one of his sons is Jericho, who lost his boys being held hostage because of Slade. Jericho appeared in the cartoon, but there was never any hint that he was related to Slade or interaction between them. But in your opinion, if they had shot that kind of interaction, what kind of father do you think Slade would have been? Because in the comics, he's shown he has raised Jericho from the dead. He's very distant. So how would you have played him as a father?
I tell you what, let's meet here next year at this time, and I'll have an answer for you. Because I have no idea. What kind of absentee, maybe?
But still possibly caring in his own very bizarre way. He's a very bizarre way of showing that he admires people. You have to admit that.
If I gave you an answer to this question, I'd be lying. I respect you too much for that. So.
All right.
Thank you.
Hey, Ron. Comment and a question. First of all, I just want you to know that in pretty much everything I've ever seen you in, you're always the best thing about that. And I just want you to know how great that is to consistently see someone like that. And for example, the first thing I saw was in Alien Resurrection. You're by far the best thing in Alien Resurrection. But even in Drive, you were amazing. So I just wanted you to know that first of all.
Thank you very much.
Of course. And secondly, I remember hearing in another interview that you did that you're a really big Sinatra fan, and that you even done Sinatra karaoke in Los Angeles. And I hate to be the kind of jackass who puts somebody on the spot, but I was just wondering if there is any way you could sing a line or anything from your favorite Sinatra song.
I hate to cop out, because there's clearly there's so much love in this room. I want to give it back in as much ways as I possibly can. But I've retired my singing aspirations for a variety of reasons that should go nameless. But I'll tell you. But I got a strep throat thing a couple of years ago, and it kind of changed the whole thing in there a little bit. And so I realized that my singing days were over. And the moment I realized it was rather depressing. So I don't want to bore you with But yes, we used to have these dueling nights of Sinatra, me and Seth MacFarlane. Seth MacFarlane is he's like the most, there's guys that excel at something, but if they had their way, they'd be doing something completely different. I mean, if Seth MacFarlane could do anything he wanted, he'd be a lounge act in Vegas, like at 10 o'clock at night in a frilly, pastel-colored tuxedo shirt with a lot of gold jewelry on, and play his own thing. I mean, he's just, and I go into my favorite karaoke joint on a Monday night, and there's this guy doing Sinatra stuff, and they say, "You know who that is?" I said, "I have no idea who that is, but he's doing my fucking material." And they said, "Well, that's that guy from that new show, The Family Guy." I said, "I don't give a shit who he is. The only one that does Sinatra in this joint." So then my turn comes, and I do and so now we start having these sort of dueling, who can sing the most obscure Sinatra type. Because the reason I like this particular karaoke bar is because they didn't just have the hits, they had stuff that was really esoteric and really outside the box. And so I get up and I do French Foreign Legion, and he gets up and he does, I don't know, Autumn in New York, and then I get up and do, Violets for Your Furs, and it became a thing every Monday night. It was I'm way better than Seth. He has so much more money than I do, and he has a show on television with a 90,000-piece orchestra, and so he gets the last laugh. But between you and me, I kill him.
Real quickly then, if you could have Frank Sinatra sing one song to you, what would it be?
Well, I actually tweeted this out the other day. They asked me to pick a Sinatra song, and that's not even possible to do because there are way too many. But there's a lyric that he sings that is unbeatable, and it's to the song "You Go to My Head." And if you don't know that song, just read the words. I mean, you go to my head, and you linger like a haunting refrain. And it's just amazing. And that's a Sinatra song that whenever I hear it, there's another one called "Everything Happens to Me," which Chet Baker re-recorded, and a lot of people re-recorded. But those are like mood changers for me. I could be just suicidal and I'll hear one of those. All of a sudden, there's a million reasons to live.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Ron, thanks for coming out. In your career, you've worked with some of the more eccentric and creative minds in filmmaking, Guillermo and Jean-Pierre Jeunet. And being a fan of the movie Drive, what was it like? What was your experience like working with Nicholas Winding Refn?
Phenomenal. He, he's like most of those guys that you mentioned who are really, I don't want to throw the word genius around, but they're, if you're going to throw that word around, those three guys would they'd be candidates. And they have personas that, their everyday persona and their artistry are almost two separate entities. Because when you're with them and you're working with them, they seem very ordinary and very kind of everyday-ish. But somehow, what's happening in what's going into the camera and then eventually what comes out is magic. And they're born filmmakers. So that where their exchanges in real time are rather unextraordinary, what actually ends up going into the camera is completely extraordinary, completely stylized, completely heightened, to the point where it's just made to be, it's just cinematic in nature, and it's made to be seen by hordes of people. Refn is like that. Working with Refn is like, you have no idea you're working on a masterpiece until you go see it 6 months later after it's finished. And you see everything that he just puts, it's like, the movie's like a crock pot, and all these pieces of the recipe are just being thrown in almost with a shovel. And then you go away for 6 or 8 months and you come back and it's been sculpted down into this Michelangelo. And it's like, wow. I mean, I can't believe I was making that movie. Same thing with Guillermo, same thing with Jean-Jacques Annaud, same thing with Jean-Pierre Jeunet. There are always two of them. There's the everyday guy, and then there's the guy that shows up in the final cut.
Thank you. Ready?
Thank you, Mr. Perlman, for doing what you do. You are great at it, and this is so you do a bunch of voice work. You show up in Halo, Adventure Time, Afro Samurai. How did you get involved with doing voice work in the first place?
I guess when I was doing Beauty and the Beast, I got a voiceover agent. There are actually people who go around just getting people jobs doing voiceovers, and I started auditioning for TV commercials, like to be the voice of Chevrolet or the voice of AT&T or whatever. And they had a separate division in that office. Wow, man, these guys are killer talented. I mean, killer talented. No one knows who they are because all they do is voiceovers. And I actively tried to make that a part of my world, to do that with as much frequency as possible, because I found it to be a charged environment and someplace, that I could have a really good time working. So.
Thank you. Over here.
Hello.
Hi.
It's already been established by other people, other previous Q and A people, that you've kind of been typecast playing tough guys and bad guys, which is why I'm really fascinated whenever you do something completely different. I'm thinking like Danny Phantom, and also my personal favorite performance of yours from The Last Supper, where you play the conservative pundit who just argues circles around everyone. How do you get cast in those type of roles?
I actively have to go after them. I mean, I remember the person who directed The Last Supper was actually sitting on the exercise bike with me in the Hollywood Y while I was reading Chronos. And she was kind of looking over my shoulder. Her name was Stacy Title, and reading along with me. And our relationship started with, God, you're a slow reader. I finished that page 15 minutes ago. Turn the fucking page. So she and I got about halfway through the script working on the stationary bike together. We hadn't even introduced ourselves to each other. And she said, what a weird screenplay. What is that? And I said, I just got this out of the blue. Dad asked me to consider doing it. And she said, what are you going to do? I said, I got to do it. This movie is like a once-in-a-lifetime thing. This movie would never be made except under the circumstances that they're making it in Mexico. And so that was the beginning of my relationship with Stacy. And then somehow she said, could you read Last Supper? because I know you're a good reader and I'd like to get your notes. And I read The Last Supper and I said, who's playing Norman? She said, oh, that's Bo Bridges is playing that. I said, where does he live? I'm gonna go fucking kill him. So she gave me his address. And I don't know if you've seen The Descendants, but that was the first movie Bo was able to do after he got an attraction. Bo dropped out of Last Supper and Stacy called me up and she said, I know you want to do this role, but I'm not sure, I don't see you like this. I said, give me a shot. And I begged her and pleaded, and she ultimately let me play. It's really curious. Since no one else has brought this up, I'm going to bring it up. But, you know, the role of Phyllis in 3, 2, 1, Frankie Go Boom. Same thing, and, you know, they asked me to look at the role that Chris Noth played, and I said, well, who's playing the chick? They said, what? You can't play the chick. I said, no, I'm just curious. Is it cast? Is it cast? He said, no, it's not cast, but what are you talking about? I said, all right. I won't do the movie unless I can play Phyllis. And, you know, everybody just went, how do you say no? I mean, you know, it's willing to work for free. That movie was made for about 39 cents. But I had to beg, you know, to this day, I'm still, you know, on my knees. Can you imagine?
I absolutely love you in Sons of Anarchy, and me and my whole family love you in Hellboy. Quick thing, do you like better doing the family type of Hellboy things, or do you love doing the evil, badass Sons of Anarchy better, if you had to weigh the two? And if there's anybody you've never worked with, like a leading lady, who would you want to work with that you haven't?
Jennifer Lawrence. I'm like everybody else in this country, I'm completely, you know, bowled over by her. She's so refreshing, she's so real, she's so talented. She's so kind of America's, you know, girl next door. So yeah, I mean, you know, there's millions of others, but that's the first one that pops into my mind. For the sake of time, I won't give you the whole list. And do I like Sons of Anarchy better than Hellboy? Well, no, but I love the fact that I get to do both. And I love the variety. I love the different challenges of going from one set to another. And it's like, you know, putting on a brand new wardrobe and trying to be comfortable in that person's skin. And then the next day you're doing something else. It's, you know, it's what I dig. It's really, really, I like the variety. You know, I'm really glad I don't have to just do one thing.
Well, you're awesome at both, so
Thank you.
Right over here.
Hello. I was just wondering, I know there's been a couple people that mentioned Alien Resurrection, and I actually really liked that movie. So I was wondering what your experience was like with that, and what it was like seeing Sigourney Weaver make that epic basketball shot.
I almost ruined the take because I'm in the scene with her where she makes the shot, and you know, on take one, she walks away, and I'm over here. The camera's on both of us. She's walking away, and on take one, she takes 4 steps away from the basket and does this, and I do this, and it goes in, nothing but net. It goes in, and I went. And the next thing I know, it got really quiet on the set. Did anybody see what the fuck just happened? I'm like, where is everybody? And everybody's over in Video Village looking at the retake to see if I messed up the take. Because if the camera catches me laughing, breaking character like that, which I did, it's not usable. So they have to make sure that I'm no longer in the shot when the ball goes through the hoop. Otherwise, they're gonna kill me.
because they know that'll never, ever happen again. That'll never happen again. Does that answer you? I don't even know what your question was.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Ron. Thanks everybody for coming.